All right, so welcome to Teachers Teaching Teachers. It's a small, steady group here getting excited about what Joe Dillon is doing this summer with Minecraft.
Yay.
That's my introduction there. I think you all know each other, more or less. Nikki's from Lehman. You might not know her, Joe, but you know Marina, and you know Christina, of course, and Karen, I think, and Sam. Yeah, we all know each other. That's all cool. So, Joe, go for it. Start
Yeah,
us
thank
off
you
with
so
the
much.
conversation.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And I do think I've met everybody at least once. So it's great to see everybody. And so you, I know I shared this a little bit last year, but what we did last year was at the Denver Writing Project. So I'm with the Denver Writing Project, and towards the very tail end of last year and into the summer, we worked with the National Writing Project and Minecraft Education Edition to write 10 language arts lessons targeted towards grades 3 through 8. And yeah, so English language arts lessons really focused on some writing concepts or some concepts familiar to the English language arts
So it
that,
is focused
and
on elementary through middle school. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
yep,
But
that's right. And then,
as Nikki recently pointed out to me, it's not. What is it called? Young. No, it's not
Not
childhood
early,
education.
right. It's not early childhood, right? It's the
Sorry, Joe.
intermediate grades,
I'm just
right?
messing. So,
Yeah.
no, that's okay.
yeah.
I think,
Nikki, Marina, and I are working on a project that with residents this summer that include a lot of elementary and young childhood. So that's why it's been on our mind. But sorry.
ah, so you might define childhood differently, whereas I might say childhood's a state of mind.
Okay.
Right, right.
So, anywho, so in this design of these 10 English language arts lessons, I'm a high school teacher and I've got background teaching middle school language arts, and I've worked in a K-8. So I have, spent time in kindergarten classrooms and early grades, but primarily middle school and high school. And I've been teaching most recently in high school classrooms. So I wanted to get the perspectives and ideas of other teachers who are currently teaching grades 3 through 8. And so we tried to cast a broad net for folks who'd be interested in like giving us some ideas. Now the idea is that we're writing these language arts lessons, and then for each lesson there's a Minecraft world that is associated. And so, there's a downloadable lesson plan for a teacher who might want to try any one of these lessons. And what's also true is on Minecraft Education Edition's website now, under their resources, a player can log in and they can look for a lesson. They can look under language arts, and we're not in the literature lessons, we're in the other language arts lessons. And any one of the lessons they find from the NWP network is something that we wrote last year. And we were writing lesson plans and building worlds, and we were thinking just conceptually, hey, what if every time you wrote a lesson you also had to think about world design or world building? And so it was fun for me to recruit different teachers who had exposure to third graders, sixth graders, and who'd been recently trying things in writing workshops that they wanted to think through that concept of, hey, what would a world look like if I wanted to teach a really successful lesson again, but try to put it in Minecraft and try to put it in a Minecraft world. So Marina was one of the teachers who worked with us to give us a concept from her own classroom. And so, whenever you'd like, I'd be happy to scroll over and show you where players
Yeah.
can find those worlds. We can take a look, but we can also hear from Marina if she wants to talk about how I know her students had played Minecraft a little bit in the classroom, and then she and I did some design together as well.
That was your prompt, Marina. You're muted.
I know. I always yeah, so Joe, like my kids have access now to Minecraft EDU, and it's been pretty amazing. I was kind of smiling while you were talking because we have this period called win, which is what I need, and they always want to go on Minecraft, and I always say, like, you can go on Minecraft, but you have to think about a way that is going to enhance your work. So doing that work last year really like helped me to think flexibly through that too. But I don't know, it was pretty cool to think about like taking one of my writing ideas and then thinking about what that could look like in Minecraft. Also being like, I don't play Minecraft. I still don't. And what I designed was on paper, and it was pretty cool to see how I think I know like another person, a younger person, right? Joe actually built the world. So what I put on a piece of paper was like this kind of like very basic looking maze, and it was kind of just marked up with like where things would happen. And
You found us.
Hey, Paul.
We're up here in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was someone who'd worked with us. Hi, Chris. It was somebody who'd worked with us at the Denver Writing Project's Young Writers Camp for a number of years. Her name was Maya Robbins, and she recently moved from high school she was in her first year summer after her first year at the university. But in her first year at the university, and in part because of pandemic locking her down, she'd kind of fallen in love with Minecraft. And so her mom is somebody who works with Molly Robbins, is somebody who worked with me at the Denver Writing Project's Young Writers Camp. And she said, Maya would love to help you with this project. She's been telling me she's shut in her dorm room and playing Minecraft all the time. And I said, great, because I would love to have, I already had a few young writers helping us build things that the teachers had designed. And in this case, Marina had thought about taking something that had really worked well for her in, I think it was Poetry Month, like National Poetry Month, right? And she said that Georgia Hurd's 6-room poem workshop had worked really well in her class. And so she was just sort of riffing on this idea of the 6-room poem. What if you made 6 rooms that, young people were going into and writing each of the 6 rooms of their poem? What if we sort of like tried to represent that in the space of Minecraft? And so what Marina drew out on a legal pad, Maya designed in Minecraft, and then I went through and filled in like characters and instructions and things like that.
Should we go look at that?
So that's one of the examples. Sure, let me share my screen.
I mean, if you had another idea for how to introduce, feel free.
No, that sounds great.
As you're doing it though, can you explain again, like if somebody who's never done Minecraft before, or even if like Marina said, my school has access to Minecraft, but they don't have their kids in here yet. How would they access this stuff? Like start from the beginning a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, and I'm sharing my screen. So is this okay if I talk while I'm sharing my screen here?
Yes, I made it. Yep. Everyone knows how to make it big with the square in the bottom right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Minecraft is essentially, it's a block building game in a 3-dimensional online space. There's a creative mode where players just build with blocks. All the blocks in the game are removable and movable, and young people and adults alike, they build whatever they might want with something that akin to virtual Legos, right? And so Minecraft for years has been wildly popular. It was really popular even before it was finished. When it first came out, just the idea of these movable blocks and creative building spaces was really intriguing to people. And now for a really long time, it's been one of the best-selling video games in the world. And young people do all kinds of multimedia composition with it on YouTube and in kind of like, role-playing situations. And then there's also a survival mode in the game where you can switch it over to a survival mode, and the object is to run around and dig the dirt and chop the trees. And basically you build structures, because every night monsters come out. And if you have a structure that will keep you safe, you survive the night. And if you don't have a structure that keeps you safe, then you have to run around and run away from the monsters and try to escape them while you're also moving and building with blocks. So survival mode is a little bit more adventurous. You can also like drown or be, shot with arrows or something. Whereas in creative mode, there's really no danger. There's just, these virtual spaces that have been built by algorithms, and then people are designing with virtual Legos. So that's what the game is. And, most people, pretty much probably everybody knows a young person who plays Minecraft, especially if you get intrigued with it like I did and start asking kids, do you play Minecraft? What's the best thing you've ever built? You'll hear all kinds of things. You'll hear people you wouldn't have thought were gamers have spent all month, building castles with their cousins or things like that. So now Minecraft Education Edition it's been a school specific version of this, really popular game. What's new as of a couple of days ago that wasn't true last summer is you can now buy an education account for a club or for a club or any kind of like out of school program. As of last summer,
so exciting.
Yeah, and that was one of the things is last summer when we were first play testing it, it was like we really needed to borrow accounts because we were working across schools and across districts, and they were only allowing people with like a school suffix on an email to purchase the accounts. And even then you were having to go through district IT departments. So now if you're in a club or a program, this is as of 2 days ago. So I'm not going to explain that part well, but
so even if what you're saying is that even if you're not like Marina's district, which is a Microsoft district, right? So even if you're not, you could set up an after-school program and have your kids play with Minecraft.
Well, Paul, for example, if you're a writing project,
Uh-huh.
And you want to host a writing camp, this is huge because you can just organize it yourself and you don't have to go through a school and use their accounts.
It's very cool. So thanks for all those logistics. I just want to check around it. Does anybody else have any questions about like how to get in, how to get started before Joe continues? All right. We'll circle back if anybody has anything. Go ahead, Joe.
So you can see if you were to Google Minecraft Education Edition, it would take you to this site. And then I'm under class resources, find a lesson. And then we're in language arts. You can also see that there's user created lessons here. So there's hundreds. There's, it's really like open access. Anybody who wants can submit a lesson. But because we were working through the National Writing Project and working with Minecraft Education Edition, these are featured subject kits. And then under language arts, you have two choices. Let's see here. Where are my two language arts choices? Oh yeah, you can see under language arts, you have sort of the top here, different types of worlds. But then down here, you can see these lessons are, the ones we built with the National Writing Project. So looking here, this is kind of fun. This is, what Marina drew up, thinking about how her workshop with her students. And what grade again, Marina? I want to say third grade.
Third grade.
Yeah. So again, after Marina had been working with third graders on poetry, she said, it might be interesting to try this in Minecraft. And so she drew up a maze on a legal pad and also wrote out the lesson. And this is what we came up with. So you could find it here. You can read the lesson. And then what's also true is because I have the app.
And I can print out any of this too, right? Looks like. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You could read through the whole darn thing. See, this is the stuff that, is kind of teacher facing.
Yeah.
But then you can also see down here, there's a world file. And if you downloaded that, it would put it somewhere in my downloads. But if I have the game loaded as an app, and you can download it on a Chromebook, you can download it on a PC, or, I'm on a Mac right now. So if I want to play this, because I'm playing the game, I can go in through the library and I can go lessons, language arts. We're not in literature studies, we're in additional lessons. And I'm looking for Marina's 6-room poem. And if I just click create world,
Yay.
Are you seeing this business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
But we're in. Go ahead, Karen.
Did you choose survival mode?
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Oh, it's a good question. So here we are at the start of the maze. When we go in here, we're going to enter this maze. What it does is it defaults to its adventure mode. And I also think that we've set it up so there's no danger. So what adventure mode means is if I start hitting these bushes, I can't change them. And so it basically says that until I go into the settings and say that I want to move the blocks around, it's going to allow me to tour the maze, but not break the maze. Now, a savvy Minecrafter will know that all they have to do is, change the settings, and I can change it to creative or survival. But adventure is the way it's defaulted. So I have to, at the very least, sort of give it a try, take a tour before I start, tearing up the flower garden or something.
So if somebody tears up the flower garden, does it all get fixed overnight?
Well, there's no undo button.
Yes, many lessons in terms of how do you revise these when you're building them. But because it's loaded on my machine now, Paul, I'm playing by myself. It's a local folder. Okay. I'm not messing up anything that's on basically everybody is initiating their own instance of the game, but I can host a game and invite you all in. So if I invited you all in and we decided to tear down the maze, we would change whatever file is on the host's computer.
Okay.
But everybody else is going to get the somewhat pristine version of the 6-room poem maze. And so if we run over here, we'll see text-based instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And these are prompts that are familiar from Georgia Hurd's 6-room poem, just thinking about a picture, think about an image, and then use that image as sort of like the focal point of a poem designed through these six rooms. And so we have these NPCs that will give us instructions, and we had to program them all. So this one says, as you travel through this maze, you will discover 6 rooms and meet friends. Each friend will share ways to make your writing descriptive. You'll want to have an object or an image in mind to describe. If you don't have a picture, take one inside the maze. If you like, click below to get a helpful checklist. And then,
object or,
and so I have an option to use a camera. I can just teleport to the first room. I can download a checklist, and this is going to give me a Google Doc. And then probably what's more interesting for us is just to start going through the maze that Maya built based on Marina's drawing.
That's water you're going by?
Yes, we're going by some fountains. We haven't found any rooms yet. This could get to be a pretty boring demonstration if I don't find a room quickly. But I think we're going to get there.
They're pretty. Huh.
It is pretty.
Yeah, and
I was in an exercise class recently, and the young man in front of me opened his computer and put Minecraft on, was running around in a maze. It's like, you're not losing any calories here, my friend.
So here's one of the rooms.
But his wrist was working really fast.
So, and what you'll notice here is, and we won't go through the entire maze, but we've got so signs are giving the instructions in the lesson. What we've got a poem called Dream Drum Girl by Margarita Engel. And so that is one of the mentor texts. And then over here, we've got Shoulders by Naomi Shihab Nye.
So wait, show me one of those, or show us one of those.
Yeah. So if there we go.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So it's a flip book. Yeah, okay.
And then all these books, any book you compose in the game, you have the option of, exporting to PDF. So when young people complete assignments, they can also export to PDF and share with teachers. Mm-hmm. And then this non-player character is going to tell us, that this room is about listening. So in the 6-room poem, one of the senses you're using is, the sense of hearing. And so these 2 mentor texts really highlight how a poet has listened.
There's an audio version of the poem too, right?
Well, I have to remember what happened last summer to find that, but you're probably right. Is it on the NPC?
I feel like it's on the NPC, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have Immersive Reader, right?
Oh, yeah.
They also have that. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
They do have an immersive reader, and this one actually did is it took me to a link to the Poetry Foundation. So we put a link inside that NPC, and yeah, there is. Oh, maybe here.
What does NPC stand for?
Non-player character.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
And then there's shoulders. So.
Oh, I thought there was audio. Anyway,
there's
audio of it. Yeah.
Well, what is true, Christina, is that some of these rooms do have. It may very well be that there's audio, but in this case, the immersive reader is a tool that Microsoft uses in a lot of its software for education, and it's in this. So, for example, if I click this, it will read what this guy is saying, and similarly, so there are places where we've put in audio. But I also think we can get it to read the books. I don't know if it can read the signs for us, though. But what's cool about this is the idea we've got mentor texts in the game, and then also links out to the broader web. And again, what's also cool is Marina's awesome lesson idea was visualized by a young writer who was kind of in love with Minecraft.
Can I pull back and ask a question that we're trying to think about a lot, which is how to give instructions that are appropriate for middle school, high school, but also are good enough for the 3rd graders as well. How did you guys think about that, or how?
Well, I think in this case, that's one of the things we leaned on Marina for or Marina and the other teachers as well, is Marina had been immersed all year in talking to 3rd graders, and so the instructions the instructions that she wrote for lessons were kind of working for this level. And then we kind of took, once they'd been built, we kind of took a stab at this and said, what grade level accessibility? I don't know that we got so precise in terms of how does this language serve 2 wildly different age groups. It's noteworthy that we did play test these things quite a bit. And we did ask, students from grades 3 through 12 what they thought. And they told us when they thought things were confusing, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a complicated question to my mind, because a 3rd grader might be able to do something in here that I couldn't do, right? So I don't want to make assumptions that something's too hard, because it's too hard for me.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's interesting about these spaces is you can see how I've changed the settings now, and I'm flying above the maze. You can see a little bit of the artwork that Maya created based on Marina's, again, just rough sketch. What's also true in Minecraft is, even though I can start a player in the setting I want them in, the young people who know how to play this are very quick to change the settings and take a look around anyway, right? And so unlike, a lesson maybe in the classroom where they have to follow along with the teacher's pace or something like that, they very much want to know what's up here. And so they'll often, take a spin around this maze and do their own thing just to get a sense of where these 6 rooms are supposed to take them. And they might not have patience to be lost in this maze very long, but what's interesting is they're pretty fluent in these spaces. And so then ask them, like, how did this help you as a poet? How is it engaging as a student? Like, do you think this would help other kids? Do you think this is good for writers? Those kinds of things. And I think those are the things that they know better than us, when they're so fluent in these environments. And isn't it kind of cool when young people can say, okay, let me take a look at the whole lesson before I go at the pace that someone else has prescribed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love that description, but I'm also thinking that there are some teachers who know how to do that now, and other teachers who would need encouragement to let kids do that. If I could say it like that, I don't know. Not everybody's ready to let a kid explore that way.
But the teacher, so it behooves you to use the platform, the Minecraft platform, affords you the possibility of making multi-entrance assignments, so that people are doing different things.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have a third grader that I hang out with quite a bit. She's pretty good at Minecraft.
Is this a granddaughter or who is this?
Yeah. So I could go in here with her, right? And we could tour this.
Did Joe just disappear?
Yeah. He'll come back.
Okay, so maybe Marina can answer this. So then, and then you go and explore. Is that the goal, to go and just explore things and go to the different rooms and then write some things, right?
So Marina, go ahead. Why don't you answer, and then I have something that cuts across all of these worlds to share.
Yeah. So the goal would be initially for, I think both. I think that the kids or anybody really can go in and explore, and that there's these 6 designated spots that support the different modalities of thinking around the poetry with Georgia Hurd's strategy. I don't know, as I was watching Joe, go through the maze too, I was just kind of amazed with not but just going through it, I think is fun to see all of it. I feel when I was originally working last year with him and planning it out, I know that I was thinking of it as creating a piece or revising a piece. And then I know towards the end thinking of the reflection of how did going through the maze actually help you tap into some of those. But I think that I do think that even though there's a lesson plan attached to it, there's flexibility there.
And Chris, one of the things I was going to say, and Joe, maybe there was a question about do you just go in and explore, or sort of what happens after you do that, and what else? So there's both the writing of the poem, but then a lot of these worlds have been designed by the teachers so that, and Joe, it's a gradual release of responsibility. So often at the end, the kids, once they go through it, even if they don't know how to hack the game or turn the game, their settings will change. And that it's built into the program that their settings change, and then they can create at the end of the game. So they're not just walking through someone else's creation, but they can actually create their own stuff at pretty much at the end of all these worlds, I think, right? Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, that's true. When we first were...
You're muted, Joe.
Oh.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's talking. I can hear him.
Oh.
Just move in a tiny bit toward the
Move
center.
a little bit towards him or something.
Pretty close.
How about now, Chris?
I'm good. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's true. When we first talked to Minecraft Education Edition, what they had done was there were a lot of worlds that were designed to look like the inside of a book. And so basically somebody who was a fan of a book
for example, Fantastic Mr. Fox, they could run around the inside of a world that was built like Fantastic Mr. Fox. And what they were, I think, struggling with, probably is an appropriate way to phrase it, was that some of the writing interfaces in the game just were a little glitchy, right? When you actually ask somebody to write in the book, it could be a little glitchy. And so they kind of designed away from, especially in their English language arts lessons, from having the kids do much beyond like run around this world that had been built by expert builders. And so what we tried to do was say, every one of these worlds is going to invite them to both write. And sometimes that means using a clunky book. More often we got a Google Doc going. So the reliable interface of the Google Doc was you'd be prompted in the Minecraft world to go write in the Google Doc. And then we also did get to a place where once you complete Marina's maze, for example, you get to an exit point in the maze where you're challenged to build something that represents part of your poem, right? But you're also told to write part of your poem at each room. So now young people who go through and hack the settings and fly through and break through the walls and things, they're going to tinker with Minecraft because it's a space where they have a lot of ownership and they play the way they want to first. But they'll see all these invitations to write, and they'll also see the invitation to build. And I think in all the places, kind of the world structure sort of shows what they were being asked to do. Like they were supposed to, turn a blind corner and find something, and then turn another blind corner and build something. And so the young person who races through the lesson will see that design, and maybe they go back and read the signs we tried to get them to read the first time. But again, all of these, in theory, if a teacher was going through them, they'd see, okay, so this world prompts them to, make 6 notebook entries and then decide at the end if they're going to write their poem or build something poetic. So if you as the teacher were talking to some young person at the end of the lesson and they had none of those things, you'd say, well, how'd you spend your time there? And probably learn something, but also ask them about like what might you want to write? Because none of these lessons can force them with this game, because the game is such a sandbox game that they can always kind of do what they will.
So is there a culture of people showing other people around in Minecraft, and a culture of video mentor sort of experiences?
Oh yeah.
Is that like, and so is that something you can imagine here, that you might come to the maze and see what somebody else did here?
Gotta open a Minecraft channel, Joe. That's the
Well, there's so many of them already, right? And so I think one of the things that's interesting is, for Paul's question, what's interesting about the education edition is it's really easy to invite someone to build in your world. Whereas if you're playing a different version of the game, like the Java edition, it's harder. You might have to set up a whole server, or you might have to buy a space. But in Minecraft Education Edition, you can start a world and create a link, and you can invite your friend. No server setup, no purchase required beyond whatever your school or club had to create. So setting up those collaborative invitations is really easy. And what I think is also true that I found just doing the play testing is young people are immersed in all these YouTube videos of people building and doing all kinds of role play and let's play videos in Minecraft. And so some of them came to our workshop wanting to know how to do that stuff because they'd never played before. And so when they started off in the setting lesson, they wanted them to walk along a path. The first thing the young person would say is, how do I fly? Well, it had nothing to do with flying, but they'd seen so much flying around in Minecraft that they wanted to know. And so, invariably the youth would start telling one another, well, here's how you fly. And they'd be teaching each other how to fly around the lesson. And, I think that in general, it was a club space, creative camp. And we saw, young people come with all kinds of, knowledge about how to program command blocks, knowledge about how to fly and navigate the worlds, but also a lot of young people who went through the lesson and came out with dialogue writing they were proud of, or rough draft poems that they also wanted to share at the end of the workshop.
So maybe I'm asking the same question again, but in all of our design stuff for kids, the question of whether or not you designed for somebody in Marina's class, I think it's called WIN, like doing this by themselves, or is it designed for a group to go in together with the teacher? There are like at least 3 options I gave you there. And could you design for all of that, or yeah?
Well, yeah, and so previous to this, when I'd used older versions of Minecraft EDU, which were, a few generations back before Microsoft purchased them, there was a education version that was really nice for setting up like a LAN network where all 30 students are in the same place. And that was the only teaching with Minecraft I'd ever done. And Microsoft wanted us to design lessons that were playable by the one kid who was stuck at home during a pandemic for distance learning. So what is true is all the lessons, all the instructions are based on one person navigating through, but the underlying like interface of the game allows kids to invite each other into the worlds. So when we were play testing these in the workshop, we had 20 kids at the workshop or 15 kids in the workshop. I showed them how to invite if they wanted to play together. And, they would spend 8-10 minutes in the chat getting everybody in the world they wanted to play in together. But the design reads like it's designed for one youth, because also I think Microsoft wanted.
But groups could work together and have, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to give you time to talk about what you're going to be doing this summer. And there are some amazing people in this room with you right now, and you could ask them questions. And like, what are you thinking about now?
Yeah, the basic thing we're doing is last summer we ran 3 different camps, like invitational free camps for young people to come in and just test the worlds while we were building them. Find the bugs, tell us if they made sense, find places where the books wouldn't open, things like that. And now that that was all before we gave our final drafts to Minecraft. And then Minecraft had professional testers go through and say, all right, we still found a bug here, we still found a misspelling there. But now we have these 10 worlds, and they, knock on wood, there shouldn't be any bugs, there shouldn't be any misspellings. So what we're going to do is a 3-day camp where young people are going to come in and we're going to say, hey, we built these 10 worlds. And the basic prompts are, go try them out. When you get done, you can write a game review. We'll have mentor texts for kids to write game reviews. You can continue the writing you've done in the world, because all the worlds prompt you to write. You can continue building.
So a game review is, hey, come play this game or come to this world because you'll write a cool poem.
I think a game review would be, it's what they're immersed in so often in YouTube channels where people are playing new games and authoring reviews. And so we can find the old typed review, but a lot of young people follow YouTubers who
they might do a YouTube review.
Yeah, we're going to just offer them the open-ended opportunity to compose a game review.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
But it'll be 3 days, and so every day they'll have 10 lessons that they could try, and they also will invariably want to, build their own world, play with their friends, etc.
Joe, quick question. Like, you started incubating this stuff before the pandemic, yes or no?
We were talking about it before the pandemic, and when it came time to recruit the teachers, the pandemic had just started. So it was always sort of like informed by people saying, I don't really know what's going on in my life, but I think I can give you a few hours. So even more kudos to somebody like Marina, who helped us out in spite of the fact that the world was doing strange things around us.
And kudos to Joe for just organizing all that. That was amazing.
Yeah, Sam, what's behind that question, though? What
partly like the time, I think the timing was just like perfect, and yeah, I think there was some pivoting, but I think like the fact that they were incubating this before the pandemic just says that it's not just something that percolated just because of the pandemic. That's kind of where I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one piece of what you just said there brought up something that I keep worrying about, that people are going to say now, you know, there's, at least in New York City, there's this notion of Zoom in a room, right? So that there is kids are coming back to school, but they're just sitting in front of computers again, and their teachers are not there with them. And I'm just worried that experiences on computers, people are going to like think, wait, that was the pandemic. We don't do that anymore. Or we don't need to do that anymore. So just, I don't know. Maybe I'm worried about something that won't be a problem, but it's an interesting question, I think.
I mean, what's true about Minecraft in the same way that Kumo Space is like a different way to interact online, you know, it does give you like that really nice different interface too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I personally think that young people and teachers and schools are going to have a lot of fatigue, right? And so maybe short-lived fatigue. What's also true is, you know, a lot of people have developed some fluencies that I think will maybe give us some more sophisticated criteria for what's going to count as rich learning. And so, you know, I know that my older daughter, actually both my daughters, have wanted a break from school at points, but then connected with their friends. Like my one daughter only learned Fortnite so she could be like socializing with friends in the evenings, and they laughed to no end. And they also were they were teaching each other the game and Minecraft. My older daughter's in a Discord channel with 10 people from her high school, and they were only allowed to go to high school for a few months, and only periodically in the week. And so what was reliable was Minecraft with friends and a Discord channel where they crack each other up. And so, you know, the idea that some of these spaces, I don't know that anybody's really excited to get back into like a Pear Deck, but, you know, kids can probably show all kinds of interesting creativity in the spaces where they have real affinity, maybe.
Yeah. That feels like a really interesting thing to keep thinking about together. Yeah.
So here's the what is this? The pig, sheep, cow that Joe's daughter.
I think people move like that when they try to work on the chat. But go ahead. What?
Yeah. Did I moved right?
It's okay.
Back?
Yeah. Did you put something in the chat?
In the chat, I put just the link to the Exquisite Corpse one.
Okay.
It has a giant pig, sheep. What is it? A pig, sheep.
Oh yeah. So what we did was we built a world that essentially teaches the game Exquisite Corpse, which is like the game. Can you show it to us?
Do you want to share a screen again?
Yeah. So let's.
There's also a where
we could all just click
from.
on it, I guess. Yeah.
There's some really cool ones.
Yeah, why don't you? We only looked at one, so yeah, let's look at the others.
This I Believe. There's This I Believe world.
Yep. So the Exquisite Corpse, if you know the game, it's created by surreal artists years ago in Paris was where they first played it, and the idea is that you'd write a story, and then hide part of the story and only reveal like the last sentence, and then pass the story to the next writer, and then they'd write another portion of the story or poem, and then they'd hide the bulk of the poem or story, and then the story would get pretty surreal because nobody knew what had come before. They were always just building off the last line. And what's also true is that they were some artists did it in terms of like they draw the head of a figure and then cover the head, and then the next person would draw the torso of a figure and cover the torso, and someone would draw the legs. And so this game was a way surrealists got ideas, and they created wild compositions. So in this world, it teaches the game.
What are we hearing? We're hearing.
Oh, you're hearing probably a
characters.
cow mooing or something?
Yes.
Or the monsters, yeah, the creepers.
So what we have here is we have a button where we can travel to someplace strange, where we're going to see a really weird structure. We can travel to a place where we'll just write, and we'll learn how to play the game by writing. And then we go to a place that's going to be blank, where we can build our own structure. And it's kind of they're in kind of a continuous loop. So right now, this is the home space. This is, you can write, build, or go tour a structure. And then these NPCs are going to give us instructions. And I think like this one, for example, has an artist named Hugo Crossweight, who's a muralist from Tijuana. And there's a really great YouTube video where he explains how he actually plays the game to inspire his murals, right? And so it's a good PBS YouTube video. So, a kid who's touring this and thinking that, they just want to see what somebody's put down here for them, and they don't necessarily want to follow any teacher's instructions, might stumble across the YouTube video. And they'll also come here and see this like 4-story sheep, cow, pig that my nephew and my 2 daughters built. And the idea is that you can also teleport to a space that's exactly like this, but it's blank. And so what you can do is just to tour this and get the idea that you'd be inspired to do something creative. I think I know what you do.
You have to go up those stairs, yeah.
Oh, what you do is you come over here.
Oh, there's a button.
Yeah, you can either go to the home or you can go inside.
The cow, sheep, pig.
So now I'm inside. And again, this is the idea of me just telling them to build something weird. And then they can click on a button to get them you're out of the pig, sheep, cow.
Pig, sheep.
Or they climb these ladders and they encounter all kinds of prompts. So all these signs tell them about the game. And they encounter writing prompts here. If they go up into somebody else's head, there's more writing prompts. But then the idea, so now we're inside the sheep's head. More writing prompts and also teaching them about the game. And again, hopefully after touring this thing, when they go to the blank space, this is going to function as some type of mentor.
Yep.
And so that I can build here now, is that right?
With this one you can't
blank space you can.
What you do is, you go down and let me come back here. If I said get me out of here, then I say go back home, and then I say I want to build, not write. I want to build. Now I have the same size space, and in this space, the last space I didn't have permissions to build, but now if I hit E, I have all the blocks in the game. And so this is a unique building space, and I can start to build.
You have all the blocks that were used to build already.
I'm in creative.
Every block in Minecraft.
All the blocks.
Okay, got it.
You can build whatever you want.
Okay.
So this is a building space. And then there's a third space, which is for writing.
What does the writing space look like?
Let's take a look.
I would
I just broke the.
Oh, because you're in creative.
That's all right.
I would say
there's no like undo.
There isn't an undo. It's a very painful lesson to learn. So while Joe's trying to fix that, oh, you're back. Sorry. I just wanted to say that that this, I believe, and where I'm from too, are also really cool and familiar to people, you know, and they started building creative ways on those ideas too. So you can, where I'm from, you can build it like 3-dimensionally where you're from, and you know, it's really neat.
So this is the writing space. And again, the idea that we've got, like, there's lots of in-game text that's all built. So somebody who's tinkering with the game and hacking it might want to write their own stuff, but there's a chalkboard here that explains how to play the game. And it's often played with the structure adjective, noun, verb, adjective, noun. And so the idea that this wall is a place where I can start to write those. And so if I wanted to play with you all and we were in the same space, I can write my adjective, noun, verb, and then I'd leave my sign like so. And we could construct a poem on the wall. Or over here, I think the instructions are to write a story. And so again, I have the option to use these chalkboards.
So those things stay there for another viewer to see them? I can invite that.
If you're in the same instance, yeah. I mean, that's why this would be nice to do with multiple.
Finish that sentence?
It would be nice to do with multiple kids at one time, because then you could, you know, do these kind of writing.
Because they'd be in the same instance.
You can also, in Minecraft Education, which is different than regular Minecraft, is there's a document camera. So let's say kids like wrote something, they could then take pictures of what they created, and that those pictures can be exported. So if you need evidence that they did X or Y or Z, also they can keep a portfolio that way of what they created. I feel like it would be really fun to go in here as teachers together to some of these worlds and like just play in the worlds, because
yeah,
you know, it's like that thing, you know, we have to try it ourselves to
I think that's right.
I mean, I've run through all of these myself, but I was actually by myself, so I think it'd be really interesting to do it with other people if anybody has the same.
So we could do that one evening here. Could we all get in the same instance and play around?
I think we could.
What's making you hesitate?
The only hesitation is, like I said, that
like, could I set up a TTT group in Ed, in Minecraft Ed?
Yes. What we found playtesting is, as I explained, like the easiest way to play collaboratively in Minecraft, I should say, like for somebody who's kind of new to it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Is for a young person to get into Minecraft Education Edition. They just click, you know, share my world, and they get a link or a code, and it's really easy. There's no server setup. What I found last summer was, when I get 15 young people in a Zoom with me, Wi-Fi or computer settings across iPads, like, it's very reliable if we're all going to the same server with a Java edition. I couldn't reliably get 15 young people in the same place.
Oh, right.
And
because
I wouldn't know
bandwidth?
I wouldn't know all the variables. I would guess it would have to do with, you know, I wouldn't even really want to guess. My hunch at the time was like Wi-Fi, somebody's firewall, that kind of thing. But what's true is I think it would generally work, and we would generally be able to troubleshoot it in the workshop, you know.
So that's a technical problem, not a policy problem. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
So let's plan that if we can, if you don't mind. Yeah?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Next step. Yeah, cool.
It is true. I have tried to remote connect while I'm also doing Zoom with others. I've had that problem. So It might require tinkering.
Remote connect while you're doing Zoom with others, meaning connect on two different
And
platforms
two
at the
different,
same
yeah,
time,
yeah.
like Minecraft and Zoom, or
Yeah.
Kumo
Yeah.
Space and Zoom.
Yeah.
Just to see Sam's question in the chat, I think the idea is that what we're hoping at the Denver Writing Project is that we're going to have this camp at the end of June, broadcast it as widely as we can. We expect that, you know, a lot of kids have online teaching fatigue, so that fewer are signing up for our online camp, but hopefully we cast a broad net for this Minecraft camp. And then if any other writing project sites, as we continue to kind of iterate on this, want to see how it's done, again, now these lessons are built, they're all there. The workshop is relatively replicable. So we'd certainly take young people from anywhere when we run our camp. And then if somebody else wants to run a 90-minute camp and test this out, it was pretty darn easy last summer because there's pretty reliable downloads and lessons where you can get young people. So it's pretty well, user.
And
again,
with
I'm
all the
wondering
money,
if we could build a Youth Voices group, right? That kids from different schools could join in that way.
Yeah, the thing what we have, Paul, that that we can do with the Denver Writing Project and, you know, anybody in the NWP network this summer is we've kind of got these like trade show accounts, right? So we've got like 30 young people at a time. We can just share accounts with them. We've been given carte blanche to share them. They're free. What's also true is if you wanted to set up a Youth Voices group, as of 2 days ago, you can. I think the licenses are $5 a child, so it's not too terrible. But if you wanted to, iterate with us this summer, we have 30 free accounts. There's no setup. It's just a matter of here's where we're going to be in Zoom. Everybody's going to download lessons, and if we could probably even use the Kumo space as a platform where you could go to a different table if you wanted to try a different lesson, something like that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their vision and my vision for Kumo Space is that these tables will be portals to other places. So yeah. Very cool. And thinking about how to introduce this to teachers and to students is like two different things, but yeah, let's keep playing ourselves. It's a great idea for all of us to go in and do that some week this summer, and then let's see what else. You'll keep reporting on when is your camp, Jeff?
Again, I think we've got it set up for the last week in June. So 3 days in the last week of June.
So you can come back after that and tell us how it went, or
we'd be happy to.
Or are you saying that if somebody wanted to, they could join you in that somehow? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
if somebody had some kids. Yeah.
What we're thinking is to try to cast a broad net to see how many folks we can get involved in terms of young people.
Yeah.
And last year it was averaging between 12 and 20. We think we can accommodate up to 30, and so maybe it's something we just
Are you doing it remotely or in person?
Remotely. We can't. We're not. The university doesn't want us to do face-to-face camps this summer, so we're having a little tougher time recruiting than other summers.
Cool. Thank you. This is very inspiring. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Let's keep going here.
Thanks,
It's
Joe.
awesome work.
Thank you all. Yeah. Appreciate the invite.
Okay. And there is now an exit room. You don't have to go on to the exit thing. There's another icon.
Oh, there's a button. Wow.
Oh, I kind of like going out the door.
I kind of like the door too.
You can still do that. It's still there. Okay, I'll shake your hand on the way out. All right, see you later.
Sam. Okay.
See, Marina went on top of it. All right, okay.
Oh, this is wild. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
You have to hit the there. He got there. Karen went on top of it. She's playing. All right. Karen, wait a second.
Wait.
Let's I wanna just see sometime what you're thinking about your future.
Yeah.
So let's make a time to do that.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Okay. Just let me know.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
See ya.